everybody, and good morning. Welcome to this first plenary session to launch the second phase of the follow-up of the WES activities on awareness raising and education for sustainable consumption and for non-conventional water resources. I'm Vicky Malotidi, and together with my colleague Eero Alambi, we are technically coordinating the session, while the session is chaired by the WES team leader, Professor Michael Scoullos. We have also the pleasure to have with us today Miss Marta Janquera from Medwaves and Miss Laura Sanz from Resero.
Bonjour, si vous permettez, on a toujours le problème. Il y a un problème au niveau de la traduction. On n'entend pas. Là, oui, là, oui.
Πες εκεί.
Là, oui.
Apologies for that. Can we continue? Is it working? Okay, so before we give the floor to Professor Scoullos to open the session, a few housekeeping notes for our meeting today. Let me share with you. I hope you can see my screen now. So about the language, this meeting is taking place in English and in French. We have simultaneous translations, so please choose the language you prefer from the bottom bar, clicking on interpretation button. You are welcome to keep your cameras on, but make sure that your mic is off and is open during the discussion sessions, while you can still use all the time the chat box to pose your questions and comments. You can also use from the bottom bar again the choice of reactions if you want to raise your hand and have a say during the discussion session as well. That's all from our part about housekeeping. So, Professor, the floor is yours to open the session with a presentation on WES and the context of the meeting.
Thank you, Vicky. Welcome to everybody. It is my pleasure to see some of you familiar faces and some new faces also there. This is a relatively close meeting, a small meeting that builds on the previous phases, particularly what we have started in 22 and 23, and but we have also some new faces of people interested to follow this session. And this is why I would like to come back to some of the introductory notes and also some useful concepts that we are following in ESD. Well, a few things about WES. WES stands for Water Environment Support. It includes the non-EU countries of the east and south of the Mediterranean, and its aim is to protect the environment and improve the management of scarce water resources in our region, the Mediterranean. In fact, it is a project based on demand. It's a demand-driven project. In the sense that addresses needs and gaps in the different countries of the region. And when we are talking about countries, we are talking about all stakeholders, not only administrations, governments, or local authorities. And it is important that this project is actually the continuation of a series of other projects starting already 10 years ago, the Horizon 2020 capacity building Mediterranean area, the SWIM Horizon, and now the WES. Now, these are the countries and also the budget. We have 9.5 million. It runs till November 24. And apart from me as a team leader, we have a water expert, environment expert, communication and networking, and stakeholder engagement expert, Dr. Emma Dudley, who is also attending today. The whole consortium is led by LDK Consultants, global consultancy active in many countries. The Mediterranean Information Office for Environment, Culture, and Sustainable Development, from where we are talking now, from our premises. The Arab Network for Environment Development, AACR Plus, CIGEAM, which is the Agronomical Institute, and also the MedWaves that participates actively today also, which is the UNEP MAP Regional Center for Sustainable Consumption and Production, and three important consultancies, GOPA, Arambol, and Royal Haskoning. We have the structure of the WES is based on activities, regional activities, 22 national activities, about 4 per country, and 5 activities on plastics that has been added, plus national activities, platform meetings in the different countries, where we bring also other organizations with similar objectives. The awareness raising and education is an important component of our program, and we have focused on wastewater treatment, on reuse of non-conventional water resources, and also on plastics and a few other things. It is important, therefore, to mention the champion of plastic pollution. We had a call already in July. We had about 109, if I remember well, applications, and some less than 90 are now accepted. Now, what is important is how we assess the different activities, and Emma is with us, and later on he may say something if he thinks it necessary. We have in every activity a direct assessment and evaluation, an evaluation form that you will have also today. We have a commitment form in most cases. For today, some of you have in fact committed for specific projects, and now what we are doing is a third level, which of course cannot be implemented to all the participants, but to selected number of cases. And what we are going to have today is part of that, is an assessment of progress on the commitments, and particularly commitments on ESD and awareness raising. And in fact, we have also online post-impact surveys and some contacts, interviews with selected trainees. So you see a cluster of assessments progressively deepening in order to understand our impact, the impact of our activities. The objectives of these particular activities exactly to deepen the understanding of the targeted stakeholders on some key concepts that I'm going to repeat. These have been presented, and many of them will be again elaborated by my collaborators in the one-to-one tutorials later on, peer access you have. So in this way, we hope that we enhance the competences of targeted stakeholders to implement campaigns, initiatives on sustainable consumption, and also to assess, as I said, the progress achieved and see if there are any additional needs in order to fully to complete your project. And also through that, we will provide this targeted bilateral support through mentoring, as I said, on issues you think necessary, you find useful. Let me start by reminding ourselves about the relationship between man and the environment, because this is very important to remember that we have till let's say the 19th century or even the 20th century, we have not analyzed in detail this particular position of man and the environment, which is everything around us, but not ourselves. we put ourselves as either persons or humanity as something different from the environment. Everything around us is environment. And this has a history behind, because humans were part of the environment, integral part of nature. But very soon they started realizing that they are different from other species. They have created culture. They have started talking, having a language, painting themselves, painting their caves and all that. So they had this cultural element different from other species. They had also the technological. I mean, they started using tools more and more elaborated, more and more sophisticated. So they started having technology. And also they started asking themselves from where I come, where I go, how, what is this around me. So having this spiritual thing. So there are three dimensions of environment in addition to the natural one, to nature. And all these develop more and more and more, and actually they accelerate, while the natural environment remains the same. The planet is the same, the number, the water quantity is the same, and we receive only very, very, we receive only energy from sun and few molecules from the space. So everything else is what exists with us, and this is what became dominant also with the expansion of population. You know that in the last century, practically, in the 19th, till the beginning of the 19th century, we have reached through all our history, through millennia, the 1 billion. And now within the 20th century, and particularly from 1820 to our days, we added another 7 billion. So this alone, with whatever initiatives are behind, whatever efforts for development and survival of all these people, we have created a very, very dominant anthroposphere on the same nature, on the same natural background. This is the root of the new era, the root of the new problems we have also. And we need to understand that in order to address the other people and promote the awareness for the environment and the education for the environment, which from the very beginning, from the 70s, it was recognized as a tool for managing the problems of the environment. So education is not just about the environment, it's also for the environment, is in order to support the environment. We need to address the three levels of human involvement with nature and the environment. So when we have a student or a person against us addressing this person, we address the mind and the emotions and the soul of the person. So we have to understand that most people address the environment in a anthropocentric way. As self-interest, we want to have pure water, to breathe clean air, because we are concerned about our health and the health of our family and the people we love. Then it comes as a social good, as something that is extremely important. Water is for our society, for our for our neighborhood, for our city, for our country, for our the production of food. So it is a social good. It is not so egoistic as the first one, but is still very anthropocentric. And then there is a third component, which is the intrinsic value of the environment, which is ecocentric. We admire the environment. We admire a flower. We are surprised by nature, by all the species we have around us. We actually feel humble against nature, which is for believers is the creation or the result of evolution, for not necessarily for believers, but in fact all people have also an intrinsic understand the environment as a value. So all these are important for building our projects, programs, teachings. And then we come to the sustainable development. Sustainable development is the only development that has a future. And we understand that usually we are talking about the three pillars of sustainable development: environment, society, economy. Early enough, we have introduced the tetrahedron, which is the most stable structure on Earth or the universe. And in order to make environment, society, and economy to work together, you need governance. You need a good governance. And you have to understand that within this tetrahedron, sustainable development in different countries may not be exactly in the same space within this. But in all cases, in order to achieve the best sustainable development mix in a specific country or case, you need to take into account that you always combine the three elements, always. There is no way that development is only what is going on the facet of economy. not even only on the facet of environment or society. We need all the three to be functional. So the analysis of governance, and here is where education also comes, is of course, how we govern. We need institutions, regulation. We need science and technology, since science and technology enhances the carrying capacity of the system. A modern treated wastewater treatment plant could provide good quality water in cities of millions. And if you compare it with what the quality of effluents, of discharges are in untreated sewage from a village of few hundred, you can understand the importance of science and technology in helping sustainable development. But all of that require also informed people, educated people with the culture of water, the culture of understanding the needs we have in order to move to the next generation, since we borrow only the environment from the next generations, and we have to deliver it back in the same or better state than when we receive it. This is therefore the content of education for sustainable development. We need to explain the relationship between society, economy, and environment, and also give examples on the institutions, on science and technology and culture that altogether help in addressing the challenges of our day and move with hope for the future. We know that the challenges are enormous with climate change, with loss of biodiversity, and we actually also in this workshop come with some of the, let's say, ways out, with some of the solutions that already exist, and there is a big progress in these areas, both in water treatment and therefore providing good quality water that can be reused. So this is the only new source of water we have, but also in appropriate consumption, and therefore also production, where we can move gradually, hopefully in a proper way, towards recycling and even more general to the circular economy. So this is something that needs to be part of the curricula, but also not only in the formal education where educators work in schools with students, but also with informal education, with NGOs addressing the society, and in between with the so-called non-formal education, where schools go to the society, are open to the society, and NGOs and other civil society organizations may collaborate with schools, getting into the schools. So all this structure is extremely important to have in our mind. We are moving to a multi-layer, multifunctional ESD system, and this is where we as WES program, in cooperation with MIO, MEDIS, and all our other members, RIDE and MedWaves, and all our members of the consortium, try actually to support all the other activities we are undertaking with the proper education, and public awareness. So what we are going to see today are some projects developed by you, by persons who have followed the first steps of the previous steps of ESD, and see with them the progress, discuss with them, if necessary, make comments, eventually improving their projects, and also looking towards the expansion and use of what we are doing by larger groups. This is all what I have to say, and this is where we have you can visit our website, and also I'm sure that my colleagues are going to inform you also about the MEDIS program, and all what you can support from all what you can expect from us as support. So thank you very much. To you back, Vicky and Iro.
Thank you, Professor Scoullos. So in order to close this first session, giving the context and the frame of this particular WES activity, we will explain a little bit more the steps, the phases of this WES activity. So let me again share my screen. I hope you can see the full screen now. So we have launched the activity in July 2023 with an online survey, reaching out to the previous WES trainees from the previous trainings that Professor Scoullos showed you before, trying to trace whether they had implemented or they had planned for a follow-up activity, an awareness-raising activity, or an educational initiative, either on water or on sustainable consumption. We have also reached out to the WES focal points in order to collect any insights, and also we try to collect any insights from the ex-post assessment process of the WES program. This assessment phase lasted until last October. So actually, we had feedback from Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Morocco, Palestine, Tunisia, and Turkey. So we've managed to gather 8 cases dedicated to sustainable consumption topics, and 3 case studies, 3 cases on the topics of water and non-conventional water resources. About now the cases, the initiatives on sustainable consumption, 4 came out from the previous WES trainees, whether 4 more cases came from the WES closely linked activity on plastic champions. So here you can see the types of activities that these cases included. So 2 cases included school educational programs and school campaigns. Other 2 included wider public awareness raising campaigns. 2 more included trainings, teachers trainings, educators trainings, or trainings of the staff of the organization related to the topic. And 2 more cases reported that they were engaged in a related policy formulation, and they had such an input. Again, now in the water cases, in the 3 water cases collected by previous WES trainees, 3 of them applied school educational programs, formal and non-formal. One included a public awareness raising campaign. One other organized a training, teacher training, if I remember well, while in another case, input in policy formulation was reported. So what was...
So
Yes.
we may say that apart from science and technology, which is everywhere a little bit, all tools of governance in one or another way have been actually tackled here. So we have also trainings, we have policies, which is the regulation, and also the teaching itself and training trainers, actually enhancing this as a tool for governance.
Exactly. So what was the status of implementation of your case studies, of your cases during the time of the survey? 3 of the cases were at the very first steps, at the beginning stage, let's say, while 6 of them were in full implementation mode. Here you can see in the numbers in green color are the cases corresponding to sustainable consumption, while numbers in blue color are the ones on water. One case was almost completed. It was at its closing phase, while another one was completed at the time of the survey. We had asked you during this assessment phase to share with us what were the barriers, what were the key challenges that you confronted during the implementation or the planning of your case. So these are the results, the main challenges reported. It seems that lack of financial resources or lack of human resources remains maybe the most important challenge for both sustainable consumption cases and the projects on water as well, followed by some challenges reported on how to engage the related target audience, methods and approaches to engage the people who want with us. Some others reported that you were concerned about the small impact that your case has in comparison to your expected impact, while bureaucracy and administration issues seem to remain a challenge as well. So this was phase A of this activity. Now we have entered into the meetings phase. We are actually launching the meetings, the phase 2 of the WES activity. This is our first joint plenary session that has as objectives, as you already saw, to present an overview of all the case studies submitted, trying to explore and discuss its regionality, regional dimension. And of course, this meeting today aims to provide feedback, to give us the opportunity to share with you some first reflections and feedback on your case, not only from our team, but also between the peers, and give a space for such an exchange. And very, very quickly, what are the next steps of the activity? We are planning to start the bilateral online meetings with each one of you, with each one of the case studies, in order to further explore, to discuss in depth the priorities and concerns that you have during the implementation of your initiative, and explore how to deal with the remaining barriers or challenges. We might have some missions in order to provide on-site support, but this depends. We will see. But for sure, at the end, we expect to have in April our second and final online session to discuss again and share the experience gained from the mentoring session and the input that you had for your projects and initiatives. So this is the today's agenda. That was all about session A. We will continue with the 2 sessions dedicated to your activities. You will have the chance to share with us the presentations that you had already prepared based on a common shared template. We will start with the water activities, and then we will continue with the sustainable consumption project. So the floor is yours now, Professor Scoullos, to coordinate the first session.
Thank you very much,
water.
Vicky. Thank you very much, Vicky. I see here in the program that we have the first presenting alternatives for better future by Manar Ramadan from Alexandria, Egypt. So we start with
Professor Scoullos, this belongs to the consumptions cluster, sustainable consumption activities.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
If we may start with the
with
water ones.
Habib. Okay.
Thank
with then Habib is there. I don't know. Yes, Habib, welcome. So Habib from ASMP Kelibia, Tunisia, and the university will present the water we want. Welcome, Habib.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Habib, we cannot hear very well. You need to increase the volume.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is much better. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Vicky, can you share my presentation that I have sent?
Sure.
So I am very proud to cooperate and to share with you our experience. Kelibia is a small town in Tunisia. It's a border of the sea. And my association is called the Association of Safeguard of the Medina and the Heritage and the Patrimony. And we consider that water and the environment as patrimony. So that's why we are fighting to improve our capacities in this sense. So we have held an activity in the few last months that is called Water We Want, fighting for water and against water. In our condition, our context, our climate is sometimes. Can I speak in French? Perhaps it's easier for me. Okay. Dans notre contexte, notre climat, il est mitigé. Tantôt, notre ville, notre climat, on lutte pour avoir l'eau, dans le contexte de sécheresse et de pénurie d'eau, mais quand il y a les précipitations abondantes qui provoquent des inondations, on lutte contre l'eau. Donc, c'est paradoxal. Et nous avons trouvé dans l'héritage, dans les pratiques ancestrales, des méthodes qui permettent à la fois de se procurer l'eau quand l'eau est abondante, à travers les citernes construites dans les habitations, surtout traditionnelles, et cette eau permet en même temps de réduire les risques d'inondation à travers la réduction du ruissellement. Donc, la méthode, elle est ingénieuse, elle n'est pas coûteuse et ça permet d'avoir de l'eau de très bonne qualité et de l'eau gratuite et en même temps, donc, de réduire les risques d'inondation. Cette action, nous l'avons menée avec les jeunes des écoles primaires de la Médina et également, nous avons impliqué la population locale de la Médina, c'est-à-dire la ville traditionnelle, the Old Town, et l'implication des jeunes et des moins jeunes a permis, ou bien avait pour objectif, d'abord d'inciter la population à créer, construire de nouvelles citernes, et aussi, il y a beaucoup de citernes abandonnées. Donc, ça a été l'occasion de restaurer ces citernes-là. Et en même temps, nous avons impliqué les responsables locaux qui ont fini dans la municipalité, qui ont fini par créer une loi et des incitations pour donner des faveurs financières pour ceux qui construisent ou bien restaurent les citernes. Et heureusement, par la suite, ce qui est nouveau, c'est qu'il y a une loi à l'échelle nationale qui donne une allocation, un crédit de 20 000 dinars pour inciter les gens, les populations locales, à construire de telles citernes. Can you pass, Vicky? Donc, pourquoi, ou bien quels sont les principaux défis qu'on a confrontés, hein? Avant de passer à ces défis, je passe aux leçons qu'on peut partager avec nos pairs. Je pense que le patrimoine des villes anciennes est riche de bonnes pratiques ancestrales qui permettent une bonne gestion de l'eau pluviale. Ça permet de s'approvisionner d'une eau de bonne qualité et gratuite et ça permet de s'adapter aux épisodes longs de sécheresse et de pénurie d'eau, mais également de réduire les risques d'inondation. Et l'implication des élèves et des jeunes a été très importante pour la sensibilisation, pour sensibiliser les adultes. Donc, il n'y a pas mieux que de passer par les jeunes. Pour les défis qu'on a trouvés, un problème d'abord, c'est que les gens habitués à l'accès à l'eau de robinet d'une manière facile. L'eau n'est pas chère en Tunisie, donc c'est un facteur qui dissuade, qui n'encourage pas les gens à chercher des méthodes coûteuses, relativement, hein, pour construire des citernes. Certaines familles jugent que l'eau de robinet est de meilleure qualité que l'eau des citernes, étant donné que cette eau de robinet, elle est contrôlée par les services spécialisés. Il y a un autre problème, c'est que certaines familles jugent que l'entretien des citernes coûte plus cher que la facture de l'eau de robinet. Certaines familles aussi ne sont pas très convaincues de la réalité des changements climatiques et ils pensent que la pénurie d'eau et les coupures d'eau sont occasionnelles, conjoncturelles. Donc, la question de changement climatique n'est pas très dangereuse à leur sens, à leur avis. Donc, il a fallu beaucoup d'efforts pour sensibiliser ces populations-là et pour leur dire que, voilà, plus en plus, les changements climatiques vont devenir des choses sérieuses. Donc, pour aller vers l'avant, il y a les opportunités qui s'offrent pour notre association, c'est d'impliquer les responsables locaux qui ont fini par accepter, par encourager ces telles initiatives parce qu'on les a convaincus que la ville n'est pas autonome, elle est dépendante de l'extérieur pour l'approvisionnement de l'eau et l'eau vient d'une distance de plus de 300 km. Il a fallu également convaincre que la population que cette eau des citernes, elle est de meilleure qualité que l'eau de robinet. Ou bien, à la limite, elle est à qualité égale. Et dans une approche participative, donc nous avons mobilisé les jeunes élèves pour visiter les maisons, les habitations et pour fréquenter les populations locales. Donc, ce qui est le challenge qui reste maintenant, c'est comment motiver plus de personnes à construire de nouvelles citernes ou réhabiliter d'anciennes citernes, et également comment convaincre, et c'est ça aussi le challenge qui continue, comment convaincre les populations locales que la pénurie d'eau qu'on a vécue au cours des 4 dernières années, notamment au cours de la saison de l'été, est une pénurie qui va perdurer, qui va devenir encore plus grave en rapport avec les changements climatiques. Et paradoxalement, en hiver, les changements climatiques provoquent des phénomènes extrêmes de plus en plus fréquents et de plus en plus intenses. Donc, on aura plus de risques d'inondation et ces citernes-là permettent de réduire ces risques. Finalement, dans le dernier diapo, I can show you some pictures of the citerns that we have focused on in the Medina. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Habib. Is very, very interesting what you are doing. There are many projects of the same type throughout the Mediterranean with variations and specificities, also a major one by MEDIS. We know actually the three issues you raised to convince people to use this water. Definitely this water may be of inferior quality than the tap water if the tap water is, the water provided by the system is controlled and cleaned. But this water is definitely extremely valuable for many other uses, for toilet flushing, for washing around the washing spaces, washing cars, watering flower, and all these kind of things. So it is extremely important, particularly because you connect that with the Medina and the traditional wisdom, so restoring also the cisterns. There is a similar program in Malta and elsewhere, and also we have done several technical support for that. There is a way that you can introduce in your project also some technical conditions of how you, with relatively modern technology, but cheap one, the old reservoirs can be restored and provide better quality water. So these are additional elements we can provide to you also during the mentoring phase, so that you show people ways to restore the traditional cisterns. But the other element you raised is also extremely important, which deal with the climate change. That is not a phenomenon that will go soon, but it is just the opposite. Is a phenomenon that will stay with us, and actually we may expect worsening of these drought periods and floods at the same time. So it is very important, your project, and well done.
Yes, and if I may add, Professor Scoullos, Habib raised a key challenge related to how to convince people about climate crisis and how these extreme weather phenomena are linked and are closely interlinked with climate crisis, because still we witness the situation, and we still have we still confront challenges on how to get on board the people and general public, not specifically students and teachers, but many times public and citizens, on how to raise awareness and convince them about this huge issue.
Well, if several of the participants today have the same challenge, if they have still to address people hesitating about the climate change, I may give you a lecture with all the slides and elements you may need to enrich your campaigns with the latest findings from the IPCC, what has been presented in COP28, but also before, showing actually with statistics that we are not talking about a periodic phenomenon, but about a very serious systemic risk. It is there and will remain there for some time. Don't forget, and this is something that you may use every time, that we have lost a big part of the ice of Arctica and of the ice caps of most mountains. And this is something that is lost forever. It will be almost impossible to restore the glaciers and the ice in Arctica. So this alone makes so fundamental changes in the climate that all what we see are the first phenomena, the first, let's say, the first round of phenomena that are the result of these changes. We do expect even more. This means that we need to adapt, apart from reducing CO2 and other emissions. We need to adapt, and restoring and having reservoirs at home level, but also in communities and regions and sub-regions is one of the adaptation measures we need to develop. Also using underground reservoirs, natural aquifers as reservoirs. So all this is part of the same, let's say, campaign, and is very important campaign. And this campaign is needed in many countries, and there are already many people trying to do that. It's not easy. but we can actually, through our project, make this particular case a regional case, because we need similar cases in all parts of the Mediterranean. This is all we can say at the moment. Well done, Habib. We will continue, but we have several other cases to see, and the time is limited. So we move to the next. Yes, Hiro.
One small comment, because maybe we find it in other cases. Habib mentioned that the kids, the children were used as the ones that transmitted the message. And you yourself, Professor Scoullos, have on many occasions pointed out on the value of using the kids as ambassadors. And we have two targets combined in this way. First, maybe the adults are more sensitive to hear the message when it's coming from their own kids. And this may work and be more, the message may be more effectively transmitted in this way. And the other gain is that, of course, the kids this way build their own communication and persuasion skills, which will be very necessary for them as they grow. So this is also, I think, an important dimension in the project that was presented.
Thank you, Hiro. Yes, very valid points. Thank you very much. Now, we may move now to the next case, which is the water awareness campaign by Mrs. Hasna Chehabi from Morocco. And we are very glad to have Hasna with us and follow your case. Thank you very much. You are with us today.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, tout d'abord, je tiens à vous remercier et aussi à vous féliciter d'ailleurs pour l'organisation de cette rencontre qui rentre au cœur de la promotion de l'éducation à l'environnement et développement durable, surtout la consommation durable. Donc, par la même occasion, donc, je vous souhaite une bonne et heureuse année. Et donc, je remercie tous les intervenants pour leur présentation et aussi pour les éclairages qu'ils nous ont apportés. Donc, je commence. Donc, je ne sais pas si c'est moi qui vais projeter ma présentation ou c'est vous. Allô? Donc, qui va...
Yes, as you prefer.
Donc,
How do you
je
wish
préfère
us to
que-
proceed?
Donc, je préfère que vous le fassiez vous-même, s'il vous plaît. Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui peut la passer? Donc, merci. Donc, voilà, donc notre projet, c'est surtout la campagne verte. Comme vous le savez, donc, face aux problèmes du changement climatique, donc, le Maroc a connu des vagues de sécheresse qui ont causé un stress hydrique à l'échelle nationale. Donc, conformément aux directives royales et aussi aux instructions du gouvernement, donc elle a été vraiment ultime donc d'organiser des campagnes vertes, des campagnes de sensibilisation, donc surtout pour la gestion et l'économie de l'eau. Donc, et comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, donc le Maroc vit vraiment un problème, surtout en ce qui concerne donc la pénurie de l'eau. Donc voilà, donc le département du développement durable, et comme j'ai oublié de le dire, donc on représente le ministère de la transition énergétique et développement durable, département du développement durable, et je suis chef service des programmes éducatifs. Donc, notre activité, c'était une campagne de sensibilisation dans les établissements scolaires, universitaires et surtout, donc, tout ce qui est les clubs verts et même au sein de l'espace éducatif, c'est un espace donc qui accueille chaque année plus de 500 élèves ici au siège du ministère, et c'est un espace où ça se passe toujours des séances de sensibilisation et surtout de conscientisation en faveur de la protection de l'environnement, donc la préservation des ressources naturelles. Donc, le thème, c'était surtout l'organisation du caravane vert. Et c'est une caravane qui sillonnait tout le Maroc à l'échelle nationale, dans toutes les régions. Et c'est une caravane qui a pour objectif ultime, c'est surtout de la promotion, de la sensibilisation pour la préservation des ressources naturelles et surtout l'économie d'eau et la gestion de l'eau, que ce soit donc dans les régions, donc si vous voulez, citadines ou dans les régions rurales. Donc, l'objectif, surtout promouvoir l'éducation à la consommation durable et la rationalisation de l'utilisation de l'eau. Donc, le groupe cible les élèves des établissements scolaires et universitaires, les citoyens, bien sûr, et surtout via la société civile. Et vous savez que la société civile, c'est le médiateur, donc, entre le citoyen et les autorités locales, et surtout c'est que la société civile demeure toujours un partenaire incontournable pour la gestion des politiques publiques et même la gestion de la chaise locale et surtout tout ce qui est la gestion de la chose environnementale locale, y compris, c'est-à-dire la gestion des ressources naturelles et surtout hydriques. Donc, parmi le groupe cible, donc on peut citer même les unités industrielles afin de les encourager à s'inscrire dans la stratégie nationale de développement durable. C'est une stratégie qui œuvre aussi pour la rationalisation du patrimoine hydrique, patrimoine écologique, patrimoine naturel, qui est bien sûr en harmonie avec les OTD à l'horizon d'ici 2030. Donc, les actions, surtout donc les actions de séances d'animation, sensibilisation, des ateliers de renforcement des capacités, et surtout en faveur des responsables des clubs verts, des éco-animateurs et surtout des acteurs pédagogiques qui et surtout animent des séances de protection de l'environnement. Donc, le troisième point concernant les actions, c'est l'organisation d'un concours de l'innovation pédagogique vert au service de l'apprentissage vert, c'est-à-dire là, on a pu intégrer des étudiants des établissements universitaires et des facultés qui ont adhéré, ils sont inscrits dans un grand concours pour la production et l'innovation des jeux en faveur des enfants, et ces jeux visent toujours, ils ciblent toujours en tout ce qui est rationalisation de l'eau et l'économie de l'eau. Donc, la durée, c'était 14 mois. On peut passer à l'autre slide, s'il vous plaît. L'autre slide, s'il vous plaît. Deuxième slide. Voilà, donc les leçons apprises. Donc, il faut susciter toutes les parties concernées à travailler collectivement. Et là, je parle parce qu'il s'agit d'un travail collectif avec toutes les instances, que ce soit les instances des ONG, les instances d'autorité, les instances institutionnelles, les instances politiques avec l'acteur politique et surtout avec les établissements scolaires, c'est-à-dire locaux. Donc, parmi l'autre point donc, des leçons apprises, c'est adopter des mesures incitatives pour encourager le corps pédagogique à s'inscrire dans la dynamique. Parce que, comme vous le savez, c'est que au niveau des établissements scolaires, le staff pédagogique, s'il arrive à se mobiliser pour donner des séances de motivation, donc ça se passe dans le cadre du volontariat. Donc là, on a besoin de mesures incitatives pour les encourager à initier ce genre de séances de sensibilisation et d'animation. Donc, le troisième point, c'est innover les supports pédagogiques, à l'instar des outils de la troisième génération, comme un simulateur 3D qui permet d'effectuer des visites virtuelles sans se déplacer, des visites virtuelles par exemple. Donc, on peut déjà, par exemple, ici au ministère, au département donc développement durable, on a déjà monté un simulateur 3D qui permet d'effectuer une visite virtuelle d'une comment on appelle ça, d'une décharge contrôlée pour voir toutes les étapes de la gestion des déchets et en plus du tri des déchets et la réutilisation des déchets. Alors, pourquoi pas, c'est-à-dire monter un simulateur 3D qui permet de visionner de près donc les étapes pas la rationalisation de l'eau, mais aussi les étapes, comment dirais-je, donc les étapes pas du tri, non, c'est pas ça, mais de la gestion de l'eau, voilà, la gestion de l'eau, et en plus de ça, toutes les étapes de la rationalisation de l'eau, en plus de ça, les étapes de la gestion des eaux usées et la réutilisation des eaux usées, que ce soit dans l'irrigation, que ce soit même dans le nettoyage et même dans l'arrosage. Donc, parmi le point le plus crucial dans les leçons apprises, c'est encourager la participation effective des élèves et des jeunes dans la réussite de la mission de Club Vert, assurer la continuité des campagnes de sensibilisation et en plus, le point le plus fondamental, c'est instaurer des centres d'excellence régionaux de l'éducation à l'environnement et au développement durable. Donc, l'autre slide, si vous le permettez. Ça demande du temps. L'autre slide. Donc, parmi les défis, donc manque de matériel et outils pédagogiques innovants, l'absence d'un support pédagogique manuel guide sur la consommation durable, on a besoin de ça, l'incapacité de définir les axes stratégiques qui doivent être structurés autour de cette thématique, et l'insuffisance des ressources financières pour organiser des ateliers de formation en faveur des éco-animateurs pour qu'ils puissent nous appuyer et nous soutenir dans des séances de sensibilisation au profit des élèves et des étudiants. Donc, l'autre slide, je pense c'est le dernier. Donc, parmi les opportunités, donc il faut avoir une visibilité sur les approches réussies permettant le changement de comportement et le mode de consommation les plus économiques, apprendre des autres initiatives et d'autres expériences d'autres pays, répliquer le succès des projets d'autres pays et créer un comité de pilotage responsable de la mise en œuvre de bien sûr, de cette dynamique. Donc, je pense que c'est la fin. C'est la fin. Merci à vous tous. Merci pour votre attention.
Yes, we are afraid that Professor Scoullos has a small technical issue now that we try to solve it. Thank you very much, Ms. Chalabi. Your case study is actually very interesting and so inclusive, very well designed and implemented. It's quite impressive how you managed to bring in all concerned stakeholders. But I took a note that you still want to give a boost on the educators' engagement. So we are going to discuss more on this during our bilateral sessions. It is amazing the diversity of the activities that you had in your project, and that you gave some priority in activities, in engaging activities for the youth, like animations and contests and interactive workshops that the youth do appreciate a lot and like to be involved in such actions. Indeed, ICTs, these new technologies like the 3D modeling and simulations help us so much in when we cannot do field work and be on the field. So we can use instead such tools that they have a great dynamic and potential. We do understand your priority and your concern for further application and scale up and boosting of your project. And we also note that we have noted the challenge of resources of materials, lack of materials, and manuals and pedagogical resources that we can share and discuss and explore further during our bilateral meeting. I see that also Professor Scoullos, he's again with us. We just debriefed a little bit, gave some first reflections to Mr. Alabi's case study.
What you said, and
We can see you, but we cannot hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
You do? You do?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you very
speak a little
much,
louder, please. Professor, a little louder.
Louder. We need to have. We change the computer, you see, and okay. So I think yes. Can you hear me better now? No. Can you hear me better?
No, it's from far away. You
I don't
closer
know.
to microphone.
I don't know what can I do. Okay. Don't. Can you hear me now? Okay. So most of the things were actually covered, said by Vicky. Congratulations on your work. We will discuss with you on the points you said. We are also interested to promote your work also at regional level and see how we can benefit in the entire region. Three elements I wanted to mention for you. First of all, what you have presented is a comprehensive non-formal education because it has parts of formal and informal elements, but it is a very, very interesting program run by a ministry different of not the Ministry of Education, but the Ministry of the Environment. This is extremely important, and this can be can inspire other ministries of environment or water to do similar things. The second is that we as WES, in the next phase, we will continue our efforts in this area. So there is a future for the next phase. Also, MIO is at the moment leading a project for production of material and this is also important for Habib, for climate change using modern technologies and augmented reality. And this starts with four Mediterranean European countries, but we hope that very soon, within the end of the year, we can share it also with non-EU Mediterranean countries. So all this, and one more, since you are dealing with universities, we also promote, we have adopted in Greece a charter, the sustainability charter of universities, and this can be also used as a source of information and a source of inspiration for the Moroccan universities. We need you as ally on that. We need you to support this, and we are going to help you also in making this known also in Morocco. The same is true for all other countries. It is in our agenda to disseminate that because it is extremely important for the universities to become also showcases of sustainable development and action for the climate change. So this is what I wanted to say. There will be a follow-up with you by my colleagues, and also if you are interested, as I said, I can provide a lecture with the material available also for all of you to use it and replicate. I think we can move because the time is actually pressing us. I don't know if you have any.
Based on our agenda, we're supposed to have a 5 minutes break if you wish.
Make it 3 minutes, and yes, we continue in
Thank you.
few minutes. We are back. We are back. I don't know if Mrs. Hasna wanted to say something on the comments.
Oui, merci. Oui, merci. Je voulais juste rebondir sur ce que vous avez dit tout à l'heure. Donc, on est vraiment très fiers de coordonner avec vous. Et en plus de ça, c'est un honneur pour nous d'être votre allié. Donc, dans le projet, le futur projet, surtout avec les établissements universitaires. Et en plus de ça, j'ai juste pas une remarque, mais juste une petite information, c'est que par rapport à ce qu'il a présenté tout à l'heure Monsieur Habib de la Tunisie, donc la pratique ancestrale, c'est une pratique ancestrale qui est ici courante au Maroc et ça s'appelle le mutfiya. C'est un système de stockage de l'eau. Et en arabe, il s'appelle mutfiya. Et ce que j'aimerais bien partager avec vous, c'est qu'on a déjà instauré ce genre de système de collecte des eaux pluviales dans 6 établissements scolaires. Et ça s'inscrivait dans le cadre d'un projet, s'appelait intitulé un projet, un programme intégré de l'éducation à l'environnement et au développement durable. Et c'est un projet qui avait pour objectif, c'est la réalisation des installations de démonstration sur tout ce qui est en matière de l'environnement, la protection de l'environnement et de développement durable. Et c'est grâce à ce projet-là qu'on a pu installer ou plutôt doter ces établissements scolaires d'un système de collecte des eaux pluviales par la construction d'une bâche à eau. Une bâche à eau, c'est là où se stockaient les eaux pluviales et après, on peut les utiliser, toute saison, on peut les utiliser dans l'irrigation des jardins et des espaces verts des établissements scolaires. Donc, je voulais juste partager avec vous cette information. En plus de ça, je voulais dire que parmi les œuvres ancestrales ou les pratiques ancestrales, donc ici même dans le bureau, donc j'utilise, comme vous voyez, cette beauté et c'est de la poterie. Ce sont des œuvres ancestrales. C'est là où on utilise, donc on stocke l'eau, on conserve l'eau et il devient de plus en plus naturel qu'avant. Et merci. Merci.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. Actually, I don't know if you can see around, but in the room, there are all potteries for water, if you can see on the other side. And we plan to have very soon also a publication with water vessels from the entire region. And this is also for educational purposes to be also part of to explain also what Habib said, that water is an integral part of our heritage, cultural heritage as well. What you just mentioned, and I hope that Habib also hears us, we can give you more examples from the campaigns run by MEDIS with also the support of the Global Water Partnership, apart from MIO, in collecting water in more than 100 small islands in Greece, Cyprus, and Malta and Italy, making, let's say, these works next to schools so that children, school children, could see the construction, but also use the water for flushing toilets or for watering gardens. So it is already an ongoing project which could somehow enrich your activities, and also this can bring together similar activities in the Mediterranean, which is extremely important. By the way, the traditional methods, also the canats and many other traditional structures, inform also another project, the Hydria project. And Hydria, you can enter to that. I mean, Iro and Vicky will send the link. It is considered as a virtual museum. It is actually, Hydria is one of the founding members of the network of water museums in international network, but particularly for water museums in the Mediterranean and water structures in the Mediterranean. And within this also the water vessels is one of the important elements. So this all those of you who work on education and water, stressing the also the cultural aspect of that, not as a nostalgia, but as a source of inspiration for the future, could also capitalize on what is available now under the Hydria project and the other water projects that are in, I believe, in the webpage of MEDIS. So Vicky and Iro will provide this information and access to you on that. So if there is no other request from the floor at this point, I propose that we move to the next group on the cluster of sustainable consumption cases. And I understand that the first one is a presentation of the award-winning I Am Coco campaign on conscious consumption. This session actually will entail a 15-minute presentation given by Mrs. Laura Scoullos of the Rizero Foundation organization. So Marta, I'm glad to see you there. If you wish to say something before that and before giving the floor to Laura.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Everybody, bonjour tout le monde. Basically, we had the idea that it will be very, very useful for all of you to have this case study presented. Again, we did mention it in the first phase of this activity, but we thought to bring it again for you to have a look at it, and to also our colleagues from Recero will show the lessons learned from this case on how they transform the consumption. So they managed through the campaign to transform the consumption, to showcase what could be done in terms of sustainable consumption. And we thought it could be very useful for you. So Laura Sanz and Laia, I think, are connected and will be presenting this case. And
thank you very much. We are ready to...
They are open for questions, and we will also try to look at synergies and ways of or replicating or supporting you if this is something you find interesting.
Okay. Hello,
Thanks a
everybody.
lot. Hello.
First of all, thanks for having us. I'll share the screen. I guess I'll do it by myself. Yeah. Okay. So oh, okay. The microphone is here on the table. So is it better now or?
Perhaps you have another micro in the same room open.
Yeah, I'll try it. Wait, sorry, I have to stop sharing right now.
Wait a second, please.
Do you hear me better like this? No.
I thought it was better before, actually.
Hello? Like this better?
Yes, I think so. For me, at least. I don't know for the rest.
It's clear for us.
Yes, it's clear. It's clear. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And all the interpreters, for us, it's clear.
Have more options, so sorry. Okay, I'll try to speak slowly and clear so everybody can understand and follow me. Okay, so I'll share the screen again. So as I was saying, thank you very much for inviting us and well, be willing to listen our presentation. As it's been said, I'm Laura Sanz, I'm project manager in ReZero, and she's Laia Carulla, and she's project director here in ReZero, and we'll present you this project. First of all, though, I would like to introduce a little bit about ReZero, so you know us a little bit better. ReZero is the Catalan organization for waste prevention and responsible consumption. And we believe in a society that uses the earth resources at its maximum and therefore reduces the generation of waste. To do that, we create knowledge and we promote regulations and projects to make this happen, of course, and to achieve this society in what we believe. And to do, we work with companies, public administration, and of course, citizens and all the population that's interested. So yeah, we are based in Barcelona and Mallorca. So our work is mainly done in Catalonia and Balearic Islands, but as well, we participate in a lot of groups in Spain and also in Europe. So yeah, that will be a little bit of ReZero, and then we can get to the main project. That's I am Coco. The name comes from Jo soc Coco in Catalan. That means I am a conscientious consumer. So we've done this translation for you. I am Coco. This program includes different projects and campaigns and has the aim to approach consumption in a positive, attractive, and emphatic way. So we could say that when we are doing projects in this program, we are always looking for proximity and informality without losing the rigorosity, of course, that we always have in mind, right? So yeah, today we're focusing on one of the first projects within this program. And this was the web series ReZero Objective or ReZero Challenge, you could translate, where what we did in 2017, as you can see, that 5 families had the challenge to reduce their waste during 1 month. So they had one big challenge and 30 days to do it. We actually were really happy with the result of the project, and it had some repercussions. We appeared in local news, local newspapers, and got quite commented, so we were really happy. And as well, the next year, in 2018, we won the European Week for Waste Reduction Award that recognized the originality and success of the series. So it's a really important project for us. So why did we do this? Of course, we all know why, because we believe in this transaction and in a zero waste lifestyle, but mainly As I said before, we were looking for a format that will give us the proximity and informality to get closer to people and make them feel related and able to make those changes. Because in order to approach the values and practical information of zero waste lifestyle in a positive and attractive way, while we were contributing to empower and prepare the populations towards reduce and reduction. So we wanted to show them that the alternatives we are always talking about are possible, and that people could feel motivated and think, if they can do it, why wouldn't I, right? If they have a baby, like I have a baby, if they can do it, I can do it, for example. So we're looking this relation, right? So how we did it, first of all, of course, we designed the project. We started on how it would work, for how long the challenge will last, how many families will participate, who will get involved, etc. And of course, we thought a lot about the communication, because at the end, this was a project that the main goal was to communicate and to get to everybody in our region. So that was really important from the beginning as well. Then we had the family selection to choose our main characters, right, from the series. As you will see afterwards, we look for a lot of variety from ages, different kinds of families, territory. Not everybody was from Barcelona city. We had families from all around Catalonia. So that was really important for us, right? And then each family had something different, so people would connect with one family or the other. Then we set some challenges. Everybody had the same challenge to reduce waste at its minimum, but every family had a specific challenge for themselves, so we could show more habits and alternatives. So everybody had to reduce the waste, but everyone had like a main goal. Then we prepared the families before starting all the program. We gave them a kit, like the one you can see here in the picture. To do that, we collaborated with different companies that gave us some products. And then we explained to them some little instructions on how to start reducing their waste, how to change their consumption. We didn't give them all the information because we wanted them to discover by themselves everything that it was possible to do. But yeah, we gave them some little beginning instructions. And of course, we gave them some filming tips and information, because at the end, we wanted to have all the content and all their experience in videos, right, to be able to do the final result. So we gave them some ideas on how to record themselves, what can they explain, and all that. And then we started the project itself. First of all, we did a month on waste accumulation. So we asked them to keep at home all the wastes that they were generating during a normal month with their normal habits, without changing anything. So we could be able to compare at the end the real reduction and the real results of the project. And after that month, we started with the challenge. Okay, so they had 30 days, 1 month to reduce, to start changing their habits, to start changing their consumption. They received the visit of different specialists on different subjects that will explain them how to change. So I don't know, how to buy meat without plastics, how to do compost at home, how to reduce water bottles, examples. And of course, during that month, they were filming themselves, explaining their story, and they had our support the whole time. We even created a WhatsApp group with all the families and us, so we can help them, and they will change experiences between them and feel more together, right? Not so alone in the transition. So here you have the picture of the 5 families that participated. As I said, there was a lot of variety. We had 3 students living together in Barcelona. Then we have a retired couple here in the top right. They were living in a countryside, or in a little town near Barcelona. Then the family of 4 in the middle with 2 kids. Then we have this couple, but they didn't have babies or kids, but they had a dog. So we introduced a different item there. And then we had the family with the baby. So that was also different between the others. So as I explained a little bit before, we collected all the waste from each family. We stored them, and then we selected and separated them for types. We weighed them to be able to compare at the end, as I said. And you can see how we set it up for all the pictures that you just saw. It was fun to do, tiring, but it was a really nice result. So this was the end of the project. After the month of reducing, as you can see, they didn't accomplish the zero waste because, as you all know, it's pretty complicated nowadays, but they did a pretty good job. We're happy about it. For example, with the students, they reduced a lot of water bottles. They had all the milk Tetra Paks because that's not really easy to get in another way here in Barcelona. So that was really difficult for them to change. And they were more focused on menstrual waste, so they were using reusable cups for menstruation, and that you cannot see it actually here. The retired couple, they were using a lot of compost because they had a garden and they were able to do their own compost. So the organic material was reduced a lot in here, and clinical products as well. Our family of four, well, they had a lot of problems with coffee. And as you can see at the beginning of the picture, there's a lot of capsules for coffee machines. So that was one of the issues we faced. But for the couple with the dog, for example, they went into really looking for bulk milk. And they found one place in Barcelona and they were really going for it. So that was one of their main challenges that they put on themselves. And then the family with the baby, of course, they were trying to incorporate the clothes diapers, so the reusable ones, so they could reduce a lot of waste on that. And actually, as you can see, they were the ones reducing the most, the family with the baby. They were really engaged in the process and they did a really good job. So as you can see, the results were very okay. All the families reduced their waste, but they actually reduced a lot of the fractions, but they produced more organic material because they were cooking more and everything. It's pretty normal when you go to zero waste lifestyle. So the total amount of waste was higher, so they didn't reduce the total amount, but they reduced other fractions. And then a little bit of more results, as you can see, we did pretty good in the first 3 months. It was like the first impact of the project. We had a lot of views on YouTube, and still now we're still getting people knowing about the project and getting interested and watching the videos. So it's something that's really gone for farther. And then we had a lot of researchers and people got really interested, and they were looking for the consumconscient.cat is the website where we uploaded all the content and more tips and information for everybody that had interest on the project. So another result was that our families became influencers in zero waste lifestyle. Okay, so they appeared in some local newspapers, like these ones, and regional newspapers. They were giving a lot of interviews everywhere. It was quite fun the first month. For them was a whole experience. And then also some magazines and the local TV as well did a documentary about the project. So that was a really cool impact that we had. And it was one of the main goals of the project. We really achieved it. But as well, there were some lessons to be learned. And although we were improving during the project and getting better every time, there were some things that afterwards we've seen that we could have done better, or maybe we could have done differently. So first of all, we are aware of the importance of family variety. We were sure about the need to do so, but seeing it afterwards, we saw that really helps to people to connect with them. So they can see, they don't see the stereotypical family, but they see families that look like themselves. So that could change in every country, right? but it's important to see different kinds of people doing it so you can connect with one another. As well, the importance of family engagement, because they have to believe in the project and they have to want to do the change. Of course, there's going to be mistakes. Of course, there's going to be failure. Of course, some families have one person, more engaged, and another one that's more like, well, I'm doing this because you wanted to do it, but that's also interesting and important to see, and it's part of the process and makes everything more interesting, actually. So, but you need them to be committed, and in order to have a good result. And of course, it's important as well to give them freedom and independence. So when you need to have a plan and a structure of the project, but once the challenges start, just let them be, because that's what you want, right? Reality, fun, real stories, spontaneously. So that's what we were looking for. And of course, it is important to take in account the technology use and accessibility of the families. Because, for example, we faced with the fact that the retired family, like the couple, wouldn't film themselves spontaneously. So it wasn't natural to them to film their reactions or the story. So we didn't think about it before, right? So when we faced the problem at the moment, we solved it by going to their places and film them ourselves. But of course, the result, it was not the same that the other families. So now, seeing it afterwards, we think that maybe at the beginning we could have added a younger family member, like a grandchild or something like that, to change that, right? To make the filming easier for them. So that will be one lesson learned. Then the personalized communication. Of course, it's important to have a powerful and studied communication plan from the beginning. So we did good, as you see, because we arrived to everyone, but the diversity of families was a great decision, but maybe we didn't have all the tools to use that in a communication way. So we could have arrived to different publics through different channels with different videos, right? So from the students, we could have used one channel, for the retired people, maybe another one, and to get to a different public. But we didn't have the resources at the time because we didn't think about it before. So that's one lesson learned. And then the closing celebration, for example, for us, was one of the biggest right decisions done. We did this celebration at the end in a reserve event that was bigger. So we had the celebration where all the families could meet, and that was really interesting because they could share their stories and experiences. The press was there, and yeah, it was like a nice way to close it. Of course, we could as well have done more communication about it and use that celebration to give more continuity to the project, but as well, lesson learned. And then the project continuity, a lot of people after the project was asking for questions, was asking for more information. They wanted the kit, they wanted more tips and everything. So we created and we sell a kit for a time, but we could have done and offer more information and more tips if we had planned it before, right? So that's something to take into account. And it's true that the year after we created a web page with a lot of more information, a dynamic way to learn and everything, but maybe the momentum had passed a little bit, right? So we didn't do it just after the project because there was no time. So that's important as well to take into account. And yeah, as you can see, one of the main lessons learned is to communicate everything, right? We had a lot of information, we had the kids, we had the expert participating, talking to the family that appear in the video. We had the companies helping us with the kit. And we communicated that, but maybe we can have gone farther and do it like bigger and use all this information that was important. And maybe sometimes we didn't give it the importance it had. So yeah, that's a little bit of our experience. Thank you very much for listening and for taking the time to give space to our project. You have our website here, my contact, and of course, if you're willing to do this project in your country, we're happy to help. And count on us for any questions you have or any information you may need in the future. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you. It's very interesting, very original, and very interesting informal education, awareness raising approach. You are using actually as these families also as influencers, and I think the dissemination through them is a key for this approach. Very important multiplier scheme through the participants of that.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to, perhaps there will be more questions. I had only one question. Did you have any problems with the product placing? I mean, when you present the different products, did you have any reactions from the firms, either positive or negative, when you show the different products?
Sorry, I don't know if I'm getting the question. The products on the kit or the products as the result of the project?
No, when there are pictures with the different bottles and programs. Do you have there some reactions from different firms?
Actually, anyone never mentioned that actually. So no, we don't have any problem. It's true that we try to cover the brands, and sorry, I have those two computers here and I'm getting crazy. So you cannot really see the brands. Well, some of them you can, but we were trying not to get really into the detail to not have that kind of problems. But it's true that even though we had repercussions and we were in newspapers and everything, nobody texted us or get to us because of that, actually, no.
Okay, because this is yes, I see that you have covered most of the labels, so it's good, yes.
Yeah, but it's true that could be a problem, actually. That's true, because there's some companies always looking for these kind of things, so
I saw, for example, the milk bottles there that you can recognize, for example, but is these are some of the issues that whoever is getting into this kind of projects of awareness has to take into account to avoid additional burdens.
Actually, it had happened in some other projects from other colleagues, but no, in this one it didn't happen.
Okay, thank you. Is there any question from the floor, from the other people from the group? Yes, Iro, you wanted to say something, I think.
Yes, Laura, congratulations. A very interesting project and idea. I have two very specific questions. While you were running the activity, what was the communication method between the families and the experts? I don't know how you facilitated that, because I guess whomever is not familiar with starting to decrease their waste may have very specific and very maybe strange questions. For example, you mentioned how do I buy meat without cellophane, or very questions that are very particular and that require an expert view. So how did you facilitate that? And if the families were in contact with each other somehow, or if you thought that this was not relevant. And my second question has to do with the afterlife of the project. So have you maybe been in contact with these families 1 or 2 years after your intervention to see if this changed model has sustained, or if they kept being influencers, and how you monitored that?
Yeah, thank you for your questions. Actually, for the first one, I didn't mention it, but we had a WhatsApp group, and they could ask anything they wanted there, and as well they could call us, and I was going once a week to collect their waste. So if they had any questions, they could ask me directly in person. So it was like a easy communication, and we gave them all the tools to communicate with us. And for the experts that visited them, actually we set up a meeting with each family and one expert on different subjects. Yeah. So that was also filmed. So yeah, for the expert itself on different subjects was just one day that they had him or her there, and for us they could write to us anytime they need it. But yeah, I think that's important. It's an important thing to take into account. And then for the I just went blank. Yeah, for the continuity. Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. We did one of the families gave an interview some years later to see if they were still doing that and how it went. I think it was the family with the 2 kids, because they were the ones with availability to do that interview with the local TV here. And actually all the newspaper and everything from once, every time, now and then, they were asking, hey, how this goes, or if they needed a family to show people some alternatives on some different habits, they will contact us, and we will contact them to see, like, okay, this newspaper wants to talk about zero waste lifestyle, or they want to show a family that uses this kind of product. Were you willing to give them some interviews or information? So we've been in contact with them since then. Actually, we still have the WhatsApp group. We share with them a lot of information, and they share with us some information. And we haven't done like a meeting again, but in some of our events, they come and we can share some time together, but not like a formal thing. Actually, we would like to do that, and we've been talking a lot about the 10 years after and all that, but it's yet to come. It's true that we know about them, and we know some families have changed a lot. Some of them continue with their habits, like the more conscientious consumption, and some of them have gone a little bit back after the challenge, but then they are not at the same point as at the beginning. You know, they have really gone better with time. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for this case. I think we move now to the next. Actually, we go to Turkey for the STEM for SDGs. It comes from the Yeni Mahala Campus College. And if I understand well, the presentation is by Ayse Aydogan.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Is there any problem with my voice?
We can hear you perfectly well, and we can also see your screen. Thank you.
Okay. I am Rabia. I am an English teacher in Yeni Mahalle Campus College. Actually, today, as you know, that Ayşe Aydoğan is there. She is our project coordinator in our school. But today, she has another important meeting for our school project. Because of that, I'm here for present that. I hope I will explain it. As you know that, maybe you know it, but I will explain again. In our school, we use SDG as a curriculum from the kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, and also high school. Type of activity, now, as you know that, in a nutshell, reducing plastic waste, embracing reusable cups in our school. In our school, students don't use any plastic bags, any plastics bottle, and something like that. And minimizing waste by promoting reusable cups, fostering eco-friendly habits in our school community also. School community encouraging students, staff, and parents for sustainable practice. Also, their parents say to us, teachers, our kids warn us, mom and dad, don't use it. It is plastic. It is so harmful for the world. It is so harmful for the future, and something like that. Implementing waste reduction campaigns, organizing reusable cup drives, and conducting eco-awareness workshops to promote sustainable practice in our school. Efficiently integrating eco-initiatives into school routines to reduce plastic, base. And we have some lesson learned as a curriculum. The first one is collaboration is essential. Collaborating across SDG countries fosters as a shared understanding and collective actions toward common goals. And the second one is local context matters. Tailoring strategies to the specific needs and contexts of each country is critical for effective implementation. And the third one is empowerment drives change, empowering local communities and individuals and change the capacity for sustainable development. And the fourth one is innovation sparks progress, embracing innovation and technology, progress in addressing complex global challenges. And the fifth one is so important, education is the key. Education and awareness campaigns are fundamental for fostering a culture of sustainability. And the sixth one, policy and advocacy are powerful. Influencing policies and advocating for sustainable practice at the governmental level significantly impacts positive change. And the seventh one, economic growth and sustainability go hand in hand. We have to work together. Promoting economic growth with a focus on the sustainability ensures long-term benefits for communities. And adaptability is a strength. Being adaptable to evolving challenge and opportunity is the key for navigating to the complexities of the sustainable development. And accountability drives results, holding individuals, organizations, and governments accountable for their comments and change the likelihood of achieving SDGs. And in our school, we have some challenges in the other parts, diverse cultural perspectives. Addressing the diverse cultural perspective across SDG countries pose challenges in creating universally applicable strategies. Resource disparities in the resource among countries affect the ability to implement consistent and equally sustainable measures. And navigating through variations in policy frameworks among SDG countries and required adaptable and context-specific approaches. Technological disparities overcoming technological disparities hindered the informed adaptation and innovate solutions across different regions. Educational barriers. Addressing various levels of the access to education presented a challenge in the promoting awareness in an understanding of sustainability. Economic and construction in certain countries limited the ability to invest in the sustainable practice, and overcoming resistance to change both of individual and institutional levels posed as a consistent challenge. Global events and crises, adapting the unforeseen global events and crises such as natural disaster or pandemics disrupt planned innovations. Data availability and quality, inconsistent data availability and quality across regions impact the ability to monitor and access progress effectively. Balancing short-term and long-term goals. Balancing the urgency of the short-term needs to the importance of achieving long-term sustainability goals and require strategic planning and communication. And the last one is the opportunities. Networking opportunities is establishing connections with the peers across SDG countries, present opportunities for knowledge exchange and collaborative initiatives, learning from the diverse and practice, gaining insight to diverse sustainability practice provides valuable lessons for refining and unchanged extensive strategies, potential for joint initiatives, identifying common challenges open doors for joint initiatives that leverage collective strength for greater impact. Innovative solution exchange Opportunities to exchange innovative solutions and technologies could contribute to the advance of the sustainable practice. Policy alignment and harmonizing, exploring possibilities for policy alignment and harmonization can enhance the consistency and effectiveness of the sustainability efforts. Capacity building and training. Opportunity for capacity building and training initiatives can empower stakeholders in implementing sustainable practice. Showcasing success stories, the best practices can inspire and motivate others to adopt similar initiatives. And identifying funding channels, exploring potential funding channels and collaborative funding opportunities can support the scalability of sustainable projects. And leveraging mentoring sessions for joint advocacy and awareness campaigns can amplify the impacts of the sustainability messaging. And change monitoring and evaluation, exploring tools and methodologies for change monitoring and evaluation can contribute to better assigning and communicating the impact of sustainability initiatives. Thank you for listening us.
Thank you, Rabia. Thank you, Rabia, for this. I have one simple question, if you can answer.
Yeah, of course.
You have elaborated a lot of lessons learned, challenges, and opportunities, but what you presented to us is what you have done in the school. And now you have extended, let's say, the analysis to different countries. How did you manage to do that? You studied the literature from other countries. How did you organize that? Could you
in our school? In our school, yeah.
Yes, I mean,
okay.
Because you have what you presented in the first part is extremely interesting. You have reduced plastic use. You have in the school itself. But your comments are going beyond your school and beyond your country. This is yeah.
Okay, just trying to explain in some examples in our school with our students. As you know that we have a curriculum from the SDG in our school, and every week they have a problems for the first week, and this they have a problems, and the second week they try to solve this problem. How can we do with that with our students? What can we do, and something like that. And for end of the years, they learn all of the SDGs goals for each years, and the other years they want to try to better project, better solutions. And also we have any others projects, and we have any other solution in our country. For example, in the Turkey, we are the first global school, and we have the curriculum SDG. Also, we have the first school in our country. We have a special curriculum about it, and they have a problems and they solve it. And also with these solutions, they try to do better things in their life, like the plastic bottles, maybe fabric bags, and maybe they take some recycled things in our school in some bags, and they use this one and they try to use in their project and something like that. We have like this.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if there is any. I know that you have to go back to the classes soon, and This is why you were first presenting. I don't know if from the audience there is, from the other peers, if there is any question, or if Iro or Vicky want to add something.
The only thing I would like to add is to congratulate this huge effort that has taken place within a school as a whole school approach. They have already given us a lot of information, so it's a little bit hard to digest so soon, but we will analyze more and explore more in the next phase, I believe.
Okay, so Rabia will be in contact with you and your colleagues, and we will have the opportunity to see how much we can help and what we can also learn from your experience further.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, we move now to the case from Egypt, from Alexandria. Manar Ramadan is there, I hope, is presenting alternatives for better future.
Yes. Thanks very much. I think if it would be easier for me to that you play the presentation, I sent it yesterday.
Yes, okay, we're looking for it.
Okay.
1 minute.
Cool. I sent it to Alaa. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Manar Ramadan. I'm co-founder of Banlastic Egypt, and I'm also responsible for the R&D. I tried to make the presentation more interactive with more pictures to show what we really do on the ground. So next. So yes, next slide, please. Yes, so why single-use plastic? We all know about the devastation effect of single-use plastic on all our marine litter. We are based in Alexandria, the second biggest city in Egypt, and we are seeing the ingestion of all the plastic pollution coming to the beaches, whether from the beach visitors or from the shipping ships crossing the Mediterranean. Next. Yes, so we're a social enterprise based in Alexandria since 2018, and we work on different environmental topics, not only single-use plastic. We work on basically 3 things. Yes, next, please. We have been working in Alexandria, but along the Mediterranean in different cities as well. We worked from east to south and also across the Nile River, because the common thing is how the plastic stays to be in the nearest water space, and then it ends up to the sea, and from the sea then to the oceans. Next. So how do we fight plastic pollution? Yes, as I said, through 3 different ways. Next. So the first one is through awareness. We do different activities that encourages people to be part of the change-making process and to encourage more behavior change. Example of our activities is beach cleanups, interacting with the beach visitors, plastic-free events, plastic-free marathons, trainings, workshops with the youth in more interactive gamified methods, translating Arabic movies into, translating English and foreign language movies into Arabic to make the knowledge accessible for everyone. So different awareness campaigns. Next. And the second thing is green products, because we realize if we are offering like awareness, but without physical alternatives in the market, in the Egyptian market, then it will be useless. So we started to develop more alternative products to single-use plastic, and the social edge from that is that they are manufactured by women living in marginalized areas in Alexandria as well. Yes, next, please. The third part is what closes the circle. So we work on awareness and alternative products. And without this, without the policies, nothing will really have a big impact. So we also interact with the Ministry of Environment and with the government in general to support what we do and what other activists in Egypt do as well towards banning single-use plastic and activating environmental laws. Next. So example of our green projects, next. We can go through this like very quickly, the slides. As I said, the beach cleanups, next, and trainings and workshops in the governmental and international schools, next. Youth capacity building. So we also are mapping this is something you can find on our website. We are mapping all green initiatives in Alexandria, and we try to support them with the essential skills that help them to grow with their initiatives, whether they are NGOs or social enterprises that offers solutions for the environmental challenges. Next, please. Green events, as we said, like plastic-free marathons and skating. Next. And sustainable tourism is an area that we have been exploring since last year. We're trying to work with the vulnerable community, with the farmers that are affected by the climate change, and we try to open new revenue stream for them through getting guests and tourists to their farms, and they spend one day in the countryside. Next, please. Arabic documentaries, as I just mentioned before, yes. And green transition projects. So we are also working with youth centers trying to transform their waste management process into be more sustainable and more green with delivering the content of why should this green transition happen. So we have done this with a couple of youth centers in Alexandria. Yes, next. We had also used art as a tool to campaign for plastic pollution and environmental challenges. That was the first one was in parallel to the COP27 in year 2022. And we gathered all the plastic waste we found during our summer cleanups and we exhibited in an area. And the photographers also exhibited their visual documentation for the environmental waste or the waste found on whether on the lakes or in the Mediterranean and on the farms as well. Yes, next, please. Yes, this is the green map of Alexandria, that manual that is published already on our website. Yes, next. And this one also had started last year, that we like moving from the blue to the green, that we mapped the number of public parks in Alexandria, and we started to encourage people to do more activities in the parks as a way of reusing them again and reusing the green spaces we have in the city. Next, please. So the major lessons that we have learned so far, that I think activism should be going from top down and down top approach. So we have to work with the public on the ground to increase the awareness, to make the people.
We lost her.
Happen from down.
We cannot hear you.
Can you repeat?
Yeah, I was just saying that the change can, what we realize that change has to happen from the public, so working from the down of the pyramid, and also from the top, working with the policymakers. This is how the whole cycle can be closed. And the second thing is that the engagement of the public sector, the private sector, and the government is essential also for the change making process. So we also have some collaboration with businesses, helping them to change their packaging style into be more sustainable. And we have to use different tools of advocacy. And this was very a very good learning for us while using art as a tool for advocacy, because maybe not everyone cares about the environment, but art was something that who doesn't like art, right? With its different sectors. So I think it was a very interesting learning for us that it can be, or we have to diversify the tools we are using during our advocacy. and governmental collaboration is crucial. It's very essential. Although all the bureaucracy we find in our states, although all the challenges we find, but like this really changes the roots of the thing. And like we have to be very aware that it takes a lot of time, so that we don't come with very high expectations. It takes time, yes, it takes time, but it brings then radical change. And yes, the same goes for the behavior change of the people, like talking to a group of youth about plastic pollution and single-use plastic. We're not expecting that the next day they change their behavior or they start their own environmental campaigns or initiatives as well, because it's a change, the behavior change is a change-making process, which takes layers and layers to add through different events, even whether it's through us or different people as well. Yes, next. Yeah. What we really aspire to be mentored, or we look for, like during our being part of WES program, is like to learn more creative tools for advocacy. And I think I've already heard from the previous presentations some interesting things that we can, I think I would like to take the discussion further, maybe later on in a private manner. So yes, to learn more creative tools, to focus more on climate justice and just transition. So we know that there is a problem of climate justice, and all the world wants to have green transition, but how can we make it just? This is still something we are learning, and we hope that there could be knowledge exchange or something to learn from each others, whether from the mentors or from the other participants. How should we as activists activate the just transition as a priority? Because this is actually what's there on the negotiations tables during every COP since COP 27 or COP 28, and probably the next COP as well. And how to document the content in a manual, because we having two types of contents that we give during our workshops, but our next aspiration is or milestone is to have this content written in a manual, open source, on our website for everyone to use and for educators to use. But then we are still also exploring how to write a proper education manual. So this is something we would love to explore together during the program. And if there are any activists that would like to share, or they have on their own story how they are lobbying with the government, whereas changing the laws and the policies, and to make sure that they are happening, and to give the civil society more space to monitor and evaluate the process of implementing environmental laws. Yes, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Manar. I think that your project and your approaches are exemplary, really, because you diversified so much both the target groups, your means, and the different the combination of the different tools you have used is really impressive. I saw also the Anna Lindh Foundation included there as one of the fora, and all your questions about the next steps are very pertinent. And the only thing, the first reaction I have is that we can provide some support and some knowledge, but we also may learn from you on some of this. Some of the issues you raised are very difficult, like the just transition, particularly if you put this issue together with the campaigns at national level. I think these two are not so relevant, are not helping necessarily. But for negotiations or dealing with emphasis we may put in the different audiences in the different countries, this is important. I would like to stress the interactive way. I mean, the pictures you are using in a very powerful way, particularly for informal education, but with a lot of impact also, potential impact also on school children. So I don't know if there is any reaction from the other people who have followed this presentation. You have used really many things. Also, the bugs you have shown when replacing the single-use ones. In our group, both in the WES program and in the MIO and MEDIS, we have also some expertise, an additional expert on plastics, and even we may discuss with you how the campaigns, the cleanup campaigns, could become also a tool for monitoring if you follow specific codes for measuring and assessing actually the all the material you collect, which is an extra work, of course, but can provide also some scientifically important results. We propose to organizations like yours to become actually to help in building and expanding the so-called citizen science or participatory science. And we can also send you in the peer actually process a recent publication we have on that, on how actually what you are doing may enhance, also be used to enhance also the data collection, since you mentioned that, and others, and help also governments. This is another tool for cooperation and influence policies and government. So there are several layers of cooperation and follow-up that I have identified from your presentation. And congratulations again, excellent work.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Is there any other request or question? Yes, Iro?
A question that maybe can be answered in a small time. What are your main communication tools with your audiences? What do you primarily use?
We mostly use different social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and we have all our events videos on YouTube as well for reference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We may then move to the next presentation of the Zero Waste Space by Mays Nassar from Bethlehem Development Foundation in Palestine.
Hi everyone, this is Mays from Bethlehem, the holy city in Palestine. May I ask that you share the presentation I sent yesterday? Yes, thank you. So my name is Mays Nassar and I work for a Palestinian economic and social development NGO based in Bethlehem. It's called Bethlehem Development Foundation. And our project is creating a model zero waste space in Bethlehem. This space will serve as an educational hub and a community-driven initiative to combat plastic pollution and promote sustainable practices. Unfortunately, due to the current political and security situation in Palestine, we have not yet started implementing this project. Plans were already being made to set up the physical lab and start with our project activities. However, the current situation has caused us to pause the work of our organization and under this project. Alternatively, we decided to start operating under the concept of the Zero Waste Lab and identify several beneficiaries and partners that we want to target. First, we have partnered with, you may move with the slide if you want. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Yeah, so we have partnered with a Palestinian local initiative called Zero Waste Palestine, which is pioneer Palestinian initiative, which aims to influence a zero waste lifestyle in a non-zero waste friendly environment. Through our joint expertise and ambitious vision and the work of this new Palestinian initiative, we believe we will have a successful project to increase awareness and advocacy about plastic pollution and sustainable living. As mentioned, the type of activity we are implementing is educational initiative on plastic pollution and prevention for schools, universities, and green clubs. We will partner with 5 schools and 1 university in the Bethlehem Governorate, including 1 in a refugee camp and other in a village, to provide workshops and seminars on various topics related to plastic pollution and discuss their current activities and plans within this focus. Moreover, we will work on networking and establishing partnerships with various partners to create a strong support network for this project. We will begin implementing, inshallah, if all things go well, mid-February 2024, and we will continue operating until the end of this year, and provided we have enough financial resources to continue with our project, we will continue operating. You may move with the slide, please. So the main challenges we faced prior to starting this project what I mentioned, the instability of our political situation and its consequences on our operation as an organization here in Palestine. You may know that the situation is not well security-wise, so we were quite reluctant to start with the project, and it feels that this sort of project is kind of secondary considering what we go through. The second challenge we predict that we may encounter is how we're going to engage the community and ensure their active participation if this condition that we're living continues, how we're going to ensure that schools and the students are involved and are implementing and carrying on what we have done. And the third thing is the financial sustainability. Provided that we start operating and implementing, we will need some financial resources to operate the physical lab and to conduct a lot of activities. So this is also a challenge for us. Next slide, please. So yeah, and finally, the main opportunities we forecast that will arise from our project is the partnerships that we will establish with institutions, academic institutions, local businesses and NGOs, which will enable us to create a strong support network and expand the project's reach. And also through our online presence, we will expand the project reach to include other initiatives in other areas in Palestine, which could have a more substantial impact on combating plastic pollution. And finally, what we would like to gain from these mentoring sessions, and till now, really, they have been, the session has been really informative, and the examples from different regions and countries have been really inspiring, especially the I Am Coco initiative. I would like to gain more insights about that initiative and see how we can do a similar thing here. So yeah, we would like to gain more insights on developing and implementing effective campaigns for sustainable consumption, and also how to integrate the sustainable development principles into educational and awareness raising programs. And finally, the sessions will enable us to have the knowledge and skills to empower the individuals and communities to adopt sustainable practices here in Palestine. This is all from my side, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mais. Thank you very much indeed. First of all, let me congratulate you that under this very difficult situation in Palestine, you still actually with strength and determination support your project. And we all hope and pray that the situation improves in Palestine and the region, because this is, we all know that war and conflict is the worst form of pollution. And we do support all those who try to work under these conditions.
Thank you. Thank you.
You be sure that you have all our moral support, and through the peers and also the other projects running, I'm sure that we'll do the best to support you and help you in realizing your project. I don't know if there is any question or addition perhaps you wanted to make. The project will start hopefully in Bethlehem, and then, as you said, may be replicated and expanded in other cities in first in Palestine, and see what else we can do. If there is no request from the floor, we may move to the next one, which is the green demonstration. The green demonstration is by our very good friend Salama, where we have from Lebanon, Salama Namani, and well, a very strong member of the network with the Makhzoumi Foundation. And please present us, welcome again, and we are ready to hear from you, Salama.
Thank you, Professor Scoullos. Hello, everyone. Let me share. So it's the green demonstration room, our project. It's within the, you can see it, right? It's being shared. It is within the, under the Environment and Development Program of the foundation, where we have a lot of activities, as you probably know. But this one is like our a baby, because it took 8 years to be realized. We noted that in Lebanon we don't have an environmental education facility, and we used to see and get inspired from visiting in Europe, and actually one of them was in Athens. Sorry, the Goulandris Center, as far as I recall, which is very interesting. I visited it twice, and this is just a very mini, I mean, similar to it. It is a partnership project, actually, between, among the foundation, Makhzoumi Foundation, and the Center for Research and Development, which is an autonomous entity under the Ministry of Education, which is in charge of preparing all the curricula in the schools. And with us was also the Green Building, Lebanon Green Building Council, which is also an NGO that is dedicated completely for green buildings, for rating them, and for creating. The main theme, I mean, the main aim, it is also raising awareness on the importance of environmental issues, as well as introducing the principle of green buildings. The main objective is to raise public awareness on the importance of energy efficiency, water conservation, pollution reduction, reforestation, and other environmental issues. The target group mainly is the students. It's from public and private schools that can come from all the regions of the country to visit this room. Actually, the space was provided by the CRDP, by the Center for Research and Development. They provided us with this relatively small space indoor, and it has a small section outdoors as well. Now the actions inside it, they are mainly, we have a place for a slideshow for the students to get acquainted with all sorts of all the divisions of environmental education. And then there are some demonstrations, some maquettes, which are there, as well as outside. For instance, we have the solar panels, also the wind turbine, a small one. And inside we cover as we said, the main sections of environmental education, water, recycling, energy efficiency. Those are some of the photos. I couldn't send them many photos of it. And the duration is actually ongoing. So it is not a time limited. The idea is to have this space whereby students from all the regions of the country can come and get acquainted with it. Now, the main lessons that can be shared are it's the importance of engaging students in interesting and amusing activities to learn about the environment. Another thing is the importance of public and private cooperation, of course, and the importance of partnerships, of course, to implement common activities of common concern. Now, the main challenges that we faced are also since 2019. Actually, this project was launched in 2017, at the beginning of the year 2017. But in 2019, in the fall of 2019, in October, our country faced, like a revolution. We had where a very big economic crisis started. Then it was followed shortly, a few months later, by COVID. And in August, we had the terrible blast of our port in Beirut. So all those factors led to pausing the activity of this, whereby schools could not, resume those activities. So for around 4 years, it was stagnant. Only last year, the UNESCO Bureau of here, the regional bureau, funded, partially funded the transportation and the snacks for some students to come and visit it. And they also, we had to borrow, I think they connected the electricity because, in Lebanon also we have now the electricity problem where the electric current is not provided 24 hours by the state. And luckily now, just recently, we have it maybe 3 hours per day. So most people resort to private generators in certain quarters or in the buildings as well. And also the good thing actually of all this issue, that's one positive thing, is that solar energy gained a very high momentum. Many people, due to the scarcity of the electric current, started using the solar, the photovoltaic, for generating electricity, as well as also the thermal for heating the water. So now, as we said, it's in one location that was provided by the center in Jounieh. So most students have to come from all the regions of the country. Despite our country is not that big, but still there are some distances and some costs for that. So they have to be paid by the schools, those costs, and also the fuel costs have really risen too high. There's a need to establish similar initiatives in other regions of the country, which would facilitate and would minimize the costs on the students to come on the schools. And there's a need actually to update the devices in the area in that location. There's a lot of need for maintenance of equipment and tools and what have you. So a couple of months ago, we passed by and we just estimated what are the things that need repair and renovation, rehabilitation. There is a cost of, around maybe $4,000 that we are trying to get, but with difficulty. Now, the opportunities is, as we said, the importance of establishing similar initiatives in the different regions of the country. We need to add more activities, maybe, and exercises. And now, recently, with this action by the UNESCO, as we know about the greening of education globally, in the country, our national action plan is being prepared. It's still underway. It will be shortly it will be ready. So this green demonstration room, it was really a very important, how shall we say, pillar in the national green education plan. So we're working on it now as much as we can. Sorry. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and I tried to be as brief as possible.
Thank you very much, Salama. It was excellent, very precise, and very useful information. Excellent.
Thank you.
3 things, of course. Again, you are also in a country with big problems at the moment, and we also admire and support, admire you and the Makhzoumi Foundation for the work you are doing, and also for the stamina, for your vision, for the continuation. And we do hope that things will improve. We are all actually witnessing a very, very difficult period, and things have to be improved. Well, 2 things. One, talking about buildings and energy and other things, an aspect which is important is also how you better use raw material from demolition. So construction and demolition waste is one of the areas where we have worked in WES. We have a very nice video that can be shared with you, and you can add it to your material at no cost. And also immediately, actually. And also, since we are discussing now about the revision of the National Action Plan, please don't forget the Mediterranean Strategy on Education for Sustainable Development and the Action Plan, the Mediterranean Action Plan. I kindly ask also Iro and Vicky to resend both the strategy and the action plan to all the participants, and draw the attention of the government, because we had the Minister of Lebanon last year in Cyprus also discussing with us the Minister of Education. And he was there. He knows very well about, he knew, I don't know if he's the same minister or not, but anyhow, this and Lebanon is in the Mediterranean Committee of Education for Sustainable Development. So it is a useful tool. It is an agreed document for all countries. It is part of the Mediterranean strategy of sustainable development under the Barcelona Convention. Also is under the UFM and the League of Arab States. So it is a universal document that is the right moment to be used. So
yes, exactly. And I'd like to thank you, actually, Professor Scoullos and Iro, for your input in helping a couple of months ago by providing some references for that purpose, for the coordinator, who is really Dr. Mikhail, who is now coordinating the National Action Plan.
Okay, this is one thing, and the other thing is this film, and the third thing is that again, we, as I mentioned before, we are in the process of preparing material for climate change, and definitely economy in energy economy in buildings, and the transition to, well, zero energy to neutral energy neutral buildings. It is a long way to be generalized, but it is something that is very closely linked with the efforts for addressing climate change, both at adaptation and mitigation fronts. So this will become available also within few months, and you can use it, of course, all this material, and we hope to be in a very advanced format.
Thank you so much, and we hope the situation will improve actually in the country and in the region, you know, as well, because as you know, our southern border is, we are at a state of war as well.
I know.
Yeah.
I know,
Thank
and
you.
this is actually what we are doing is just all of us here is just trying to keep actually things going, hoping for the next day,
hopefully
for a better day. So thank you very much. So I I turn to Iro and Vicky. I think we have covered the cases, and this is a time for the last part.
That's true. Exactly, that's true. If we do not have any questions, last questions, final comments from the floor, we are also ready to share the evaluation this very quick, short evaluation. So you are kindly invited to complete this short evaluation form. This helps us monitor our work and become so you can scan the QR code, and we can also add the link on the chat.
Yes, however, as Professor Scoullos said from the beginning, this is one step of the second phase. So we wanted with this meeting to have an overview of all the cases that we have and be inspired from one another. And in the next 2 months and following what you have presented in a very detailed way, and thank you for that and all the time that you took. We're going to see how we're going to approach you in order to have these one-on-one sessions, or maybe we could cluster some of you now that we know more in depth your cases in order for us to serve you better based on what we discussed already. And we will be in contact with each one of you for these steps. Yes, Professor?
No, I mean, one option is also to provide this lecture for climate change with material to be used by the different, if they wish, by the different members of the group here at a given moment.
We cannot hear you. You are muted.
No, you tell me when the assessment, the evaluation is completed, so that we can close the meeting.
Yes, actually, we have shared the link as well, so we can close the meeting.
Okay, so thank you very much all for your actually very interesting presentations and your willingness to work together. I think this was designed to be a small meeting for fewer people, so that we have the opportunity to hear the achievements of each one and the problems, and this is education also for us. I mean, having feedback and appreciate how much you have done and what remains to be done. Specific comments with each one of you we have made some notes already, and we know we will discuss in our group where we may be more useful for you after this meeting. So I would like to thank you all. I would like also to thank our interpreters who helped the communication, and I hope that we'll have the opportunity to meet again in one-to-one, but also in at least another plenary, perhaps also another opportunity through a lecture. So thank you very much, and bye-bye, and till next time.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.